Good morning, staff and students, and welcome to 2014. Today I'd like to read you one of the rules from this book, The Essential 55, Discovering the Successful Student in Every Child, by Ron Clark. It's a book I found on holiday in a second-hand store, and I think that Rule 29 is very revealing. Ron has a bunch of rules that he trains his primary school students with, and this is the longest one in the book. I commend it to you. See what you think. Rule 29. There are several manners dealing with food that you must follow. I call these my ABCs of etiquette. When you first sit down for a meal, immediately place your napkin on your lap. If your silverware is wrapped in a napkin, unwrap it as soon as you sit down and place the napkin on your lap. When you have finished eating, place your napkin on the table to the left of your plate. Place it loosely beside the table. Don't crumple it because you don't want to seem untidy. Don't fold it too neatly because you don't want the restaurant to think you assume they are going to use it again. Never leave your napkin on your chair. This implies that the napkin is too dirty to be left on the table. Also, in some cultures, leaving the napkin on your chair is known as a way of saying that you don't want to go to the restaurant ever again. Never place your elbows on the table. Use one hand to eat unless you are cutting or buttering food. Never have your fork in one hand and a glass in the other. Do not lick your fingers. There is a napkin provided for the purpose of cleaning your fingers. There is no need to lick yourself clean. Do not smack your lips and chew noisily. Do not chew with your mouth open. Do not talk with your mouth full. Sometimes people will place a hand over their mouth and talk anyway. Don't do that. Wait until you've swallowed your food to speak. If something is caught in your teeth, don't go in after it. Wait until you're in the restroom to remove it. Do not slurp. Do not play with your food. If you drop your fork, napkin, or anything else on the floor, do not pick it up. It is very rude and unsanitary to place something on the table that has been on the floor. If you pick up something that has dropped and hand it to a waiter, then you will need to excuse yourself and wash your hands before continuing with your meal. The best way to handle a situation that when something has dropped on the floor is to ask for a waiter to replace it. Leave the old one on the floor. You are to use your utensils for eating almost everything. There are 10 types of food you may use your hands to eat. Pizza, bacon, cookies, bread. Always tear off a bite-sized piece to eat. If you're going to use butter, never butter the whole piece of bread. Butter the piece you tore off and eat that before tearing another piece. Corn on the cob. It is appropriate to eat across instead of eating around. Hot dogs, hamburgers and sandwiches, including breakfast biscuits, French fries and chips, fried chicken, asparagus, yes, asparagus. Small fruits like grapes on a stem, apples, oranges, carrots, etc. Never reach over someone else to get something. You should say, "Will you please pass the salt?" Never start eating off your tray until you are at your seat. When we are eating at a restaurant, you are not to begin eating until everyone at the table has their food already. You should never complain if the line is too long, the food isn't good, or if there is a wait. You don't want to be negative to the point where you spoil the enjoyment for the event of others. If you are unsure which silverware to use, simply start with a fork, knife or spoon that is furthest from your plate. On the left you will have your salad fork, on the outside your dinner fork, on the inside. On the far right you have your soup spoon. Beside it you will have the spoon you use to stir your coffee or tea. Then your salad knife, then your dinner knife. The utensils above your plate are to be used for dessert. When you're finished eating, do not push your plate away from you. Leave it where it is in the setting. If you want to show you are finished eating, you should lay your fork and knife together diagonally across the plate. You should place the fork with the tins down, and you should have the sharp side of the knife facing you. Of the two utensils, the fork should be closest to you. Never place a piece of silverware that you use back on the table. Leave it on a plate or a saucer. If you didn't use the utensil, do not place it on the plate or saucer when you've finished. Just leave it where it was. Always look a waiter in the eye when you are ordering, asking questions, or saying thank you. Make a point to remember the waiter's name when he introduces himself to you. Use his name as often as possible throughout the course of the meal. If you have to go to the restroom, you should stand up and say, "Excuse me," as you leave the table. When you are offered desserts, or asked a question such as, "What size would you like?" or "What dressing would you like for your salad?" it is best to ask, "What are the options?" That way you aren't going through a process of naming things the restaurant might not have. Never talk to waiters or waitresses as if they're servants. Treat them with respect and kindness, and remember, they are the ones who are fixing your food and bringing it to you. You do not want to be on the bad side of a waiter. Thank you very much. This was an American book, I know, written by an American, published in England as it happens, so there may be some slight North American twangs. Thank you. Bye for now.